Well, hello fellow crafters and fellow artists. Last week we did this coloring page in watercolor, and so now I'm ready to take this coloring page and turn it into a Christmas card. So we're going to go ahead and peel it up off from the plastic placemat that I adhered it to while watercoloring it. And as you can see, I went out of the lines a little bit when I was doing my watercolor, but I'm not really worried about that because I'm going to be cutting this image out, and so it's okay if it was a little bit outside of that line. And I've got various things on my desk here. First I want to show you this coloring page came out of this little book of coloring pages from hot off the press. I bought them from Scrapbooking Made Simple last year around Christmas time and just never got around to using them. So I thought this would be, since I have a little bit of time, I thought it would be fun to go ahead and dive into them. But I did intend to use them as coloring practice with my watercolors because they are really thick pages. I mean, I wouldn't call them watercolor paper, but they are really thick. I would say they're probably 80 to 100 pound cardstock weight. And so I knew that it could handle light washes. Now they're not anywhere near capable of handling a heavy wet wash, but they could definitely handle the light washes and glazings of watercolor. And I think they would do really well with your alcohol markers. That actually is what we're going to try next week. So if you want to come back next week, I'm going to do from another book. It's from the same company, from hot off the press, but it's from a different Christmas book, and we're going to try alcohol markers next week and see how they hold up. And forgive me, my fussy cutting is not my gift. Some people do it so beautifully and you'd swear it was die cut. It's so perfect, but if you've been crafting with me anytime at all, you know that perfection is not necessarily the name of our game. Ow! Like stabbing yourself with the scissors. Don't do that. Last week we had a lizard painting with us. You know, you just never know what you're going to find in Janine's craft room. But while I'm sitting here cutting this out, and I know that's about as interesting as watching paint dry, why don't you guys check out the description below. I've had a Facebook page for a while now, but I did not find it to be a great place to build community where we could really have conversation. It just seemed like me kind of posting out into cyberspace and echoing in the vacuumous nothingness out there. so cheerful, huh? But anyway, so groups is not a brand new thing on Facebook, but it is just really starting to grow in popularity to start groups instead of having a Facebook page per se, because it does allow for more conversation and for you guys to post the crafts that you're working on. And I really love that. I love that you guys, it's not just about me posting what I'm doing, but you can take pictures and show me what you're doing, or you can ask questions. You know, if you're working on something and you're kind of stumped, and not just questions of me, but questions of our whole community of crafters who might can help you out if you're stumped on a particular issue. So I'm going to put the link right there in the description. Go ahead and click on that and do, it is a closed group. I do like to point that out and make that known. It is a closed group, so don't worry if there are people that you really just don't, or if you're making a Christmas present or a birthday present for somebody and you don't want them to see your in progress picture of it. It's a closed group. Nobody except group members can see what you post in Janine's craft room. So go ahead and ask to join. Sometimes it takes me a couple hours to get around to to approve your request. But don't worry, I usually approve all new member requests within 24 hours. And we would love to have you join in the conversation. got some great members already who are always posting the projects they're working on. It's a lot of fun. We get to talk about it and ooh and ah over everybody's pretty stuff. I told you guys when I started, this is not my gift. This is definitely not my gift. But this image, I mean, a lot of the images, like they show on the cover here, like this ornament could stay. You wouldn't have to trim it out. You might want to trim a little excess off the sides, but you wouldn't have to cut it out. It would work just fine. But to me, this image just really needed to be cut out. It had such a pretty special shape to it. I felt like it was crying to be cut out, but again, this isn't necessarily my gift. And I don't like doing it. Honestly, fussy cutting is not my favorite thing to do. Alrighty, and given that lack of perfection, I'm going to grab a black ink pad and go ahead and clean up those edges. I use this Tuxedo Black by Memento because it's got that dewdrop shape that makes it easy to kind of get into all the little corners, but that'll help clean up our edge and disguise imperfections in cutting. Just be careful as you handle it because that wet ink will be on the edges. You could also do this with a black marker and clean up your edges. Okay, the other thing I need to do, I'll let the ink dry on that, is go ahead and trim down a piece of cardstock. This is, I think, Very Vanilla, something like that, from Stampin' Up. They have Whisper White and Vanilla, are their two kind of white and off-white shades. And I want to make a 5x7 card, so I need to trim this paper down to 7 inches by 10 inches. And I'm using my handy dandy new cutter that I got when Cricut was having their big sale. I got this trimmer, and I think it's normally about a $15 trimmer. I got it for, I think, around $7, which was nice. So that was 7. And now 10. Okay. Should give us a perfect size for a 5x7 card base. And I'm going to grab my Ultimate tool from Crafter's Companion to do my scoring. And I'm going to score it at 5 inches. And give it a good press. And now we have a perfect 5x7 card base. Since I don't have a lot of red going on in this design, I think I'm going to use the red card base to do my matting. And so it's a 5x7 card, which I got cut rather imperfectly. I think I'm going to do a mat and just leave about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, so you're only going to see about 1/8 of an inch of the cardstock underneath, which means I'm going to have to cut this at 1/4 of an inch shy all the way, or 2 cuts. So that means I would do a 4 3/4 inch cut by 6 3/4 inches. So let me go ahead and get my trimmer back out, and maybe I'll operate it a little bit better this time. folks, it just doesn't get a lot better than that. So let me see how much room we have. And that does look good like that. And I'm wondering if the this would be too much pattern with the pattern of the... What do y'all think? Is that too much? Oh, I think I like that better. Let me try this. I think I like that better. So, but I'm thinking there's so much yellow on this part against that red. I just think it's too much contrast, and it just looks kind of weird floating out there by itself. My opinion. But I think I like the music note paper better. Okay, much better. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Definitely. And that piece there. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do a stamp a sentiment on some of these scraps left over from the Whisper White cardstock. And do like a little sentiment and then maybe back it with okay, what color should we stamp in? Maybe something green, nice dark green. 3 inches, about 3.5 inches. And then I would say about an inch. And about 3/4 of an inch. I want it to be kind of tight. Okay, I'm just using some foam pieces as a stamping mat. I've just got like 3 foam pieces here stacked on top of each other. 2 would probably be fine, but it just gives it a little bit of cushion so that you get a really good stamped impression. And I'm going to use my homemade resin stamping block, and I'll put a link in an iCard here so that you can see how to make that. If you're into resin casting and stamping, you can do some of your own stamping tools, which is really nice. And I'm sorry if my head's in the way, but I've really got to see it. This is a small piece of paper, and I really want to make sure I get it straight and even. And I'm just going to hold it there firmly and give the ink a chance to adhere. And now I'm going to cut a matte piece to go underneath it. So that was about 3.5 inches by 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to do it 3 3/4 inches by 1 inch, and that should give us. So let's see what it's going to look like all put together. Perfect. I think that is going to work just wonderfully. So let me start adhering everything. And there we go, a very lovely watercolor Christmas card. Ready to write your sentiments in, and of course it wouldn't be complete if we didn't let everyone know that we made this especially for them. So if you don't have a personalized stamp for your stamp making, you really need to get one. My husband stayed on me and stayed on me about it until I got one. And you know what? He was right. We work really hard at making cards, personalized cards for people, and they should know that. Beautiful. One Christmas card down, a dozen to go. So if you want to come back next week, we're going to be doing another coloring page, but next time we're going to be using affordable, yes, you heard me right, affordable alcohol markers. So come back next week and we're going to do some more Christmas coloring. As always, you guys have a very blessed day. Bye now.